Hi guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited because today I have my soul sister here with me and we are going to talk deep quantum work. I am so excited, guys. Grab a cup of coffee. Thank you for everybody that's here on the replay. Thank you for everyone watching live. Go grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and get ready to go deep into the quantum field because I am with my soul sister today, Mary Huang, who is an international speaker. She's a best-selling author. She works with single moms to get them to empowerment. She's an empowerment coach. And truly, she is one of my favorite humans on this planet. And I am going to bring her right on, guys, because I don't want to waste any time. I want you to have as much time with her as possible. She is a wealth of knowledge in the quantum field. She has studied with Deepak Chopra on the same stage as Deepak. She has been such an inspiration to me and just such a beautiful human. And I want to welcome her onto my show. So I'm going to bring her on now, guys. I'm not even going to wait another second. Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hi, gorgeous. I am so good. I love basking in your light, in your presence. And I'm just so grateful that we get to play together today. It's going to be fun.
Thank you for being here. I just missed you on our journey so much. So tell us a little bit about who you are and everyone that is watching. She is truly a gift to this earth. You are one of my favorite souls on this planet. I love you so much.
Gosh. I love you so much too, honey. I mean, we are so blessed, honestly, to have gone through so much in our lives and then taking all of those painful moments and turning them into points of power so that we can share them with other people. Yeah. And I think it's part of the human experience for us to have these difficult moments in life. Like nobody alive in a body is going to say they've never had challenges or trauma, right? Yeah. Hopefully not everyone has had trauma, but probably everyone has on some level. And the key is if we can capture those moments and realize these are opportunities for us to evolve, transform, ascend, and then take it to the next step by sharing it. Now we're raising up the collective just by existing. And isn't that really what it's all about? So that's
I literally have chills down my spine. I miss dancing in the rainbow with you. It's so good. So let's talk about trauma and how it's such a big response, right? Trauma bonding and trauma responding. You and I have talked so much, and you know we have years of friendship. But let's talk about trauma bonding and how in life. We're here, our souls are here for two purposes: to experience and to expand, right? And when we move through the trauma, actually attracting, and we were just talking about this backstage, we're attracting who we are inside, right?
Yeah. So, everything usually points back to childhood. Whatever we're experiencing in the present moment or anywhere in between now and the past, the arrows are usually pointed back. If you follow the breadcrumbs and think about when was the first time I ever experienced this fill in the blank? And so the trauma bonds that we experience in childhood, we're going to keep on repeating it through different characters and different faces and names, through different people, whether it be bosses, lovers, you name it, teachers, it doesn't matter. And so what we need to do is, you can be in two camps. You can be in one camp, which is, why do these horrible things always happen to me? Right? And then what happens when we ask the quality of our questions, give us the quality of the response from the universe. So if you ask a question like that, what's going to happen? You're going to get stuck pretty much in that merry-go-round of getting more evidence and experiences to prove that, oh, okay, I'm going to keep on getting this kind of treatment from the universe, people, situations, fill in the blank. But if we ask a different question, how can I overcome this? What can I learn from the string of seemingly similar types of energetic experiences? What can I learn from this so I can graduate? That was a question I asked a lot. What can I learn so I can graduate from this and never have to repeat it again?
I love that because that's a way of talking to the universe. And so let's talk about that and communicating to the universe and how it's so important to, instead of being like coming from a place of need, right? And being like, I need to be rescued. Internal empowerment of finding the power within and saying, wow, what do I need to learn? How do I move from this into graduating it so I never have to experience it again? And then also let's talk about like your soul's journey and your soul's contracts, and then moving into your destiny and how your pain is your purpose.
Gosh, that's so juicy. That is so good. Like, that is why we are on the planet, all of us, whether or not we know it. We all have these soul contracts, and usually these souls, we travel in packs through different lifetimes again and again through different roles. Okay. So in this lifetime, we have, I like to say the biggest villains in our lives are the ones who loved us the most on a soul level, not on a 3D human level.
Yeah.
Okay. On a spiritual, higher dimensional level where we agreed to come. A great book, if you want to teach children this concept, is Neil Donald Walsh wrote a book.
I love that. I love it. So it's I literally teach it to adults because it's such a beautiful story. It really is. We are the same person. I swear.
Yeah, we are. I know.
I'm sorry, repeat the book because I think I was just laughing and talking over you. So it's Neil Donald Walsh. And go ahead.
Yeah, little soul in the sun, and it really just talks about that, and it teaches it so beautifully in a story format, and it's the truth. So you guys are going to have to read the book. But what I want to take out of it to share and show today is that the biggest villains in our lives are there to teach us something about ourselves. If we get stuck in that person really broke my heart, they really betrayed me, they really hurt me, fill in the blank. We are just going to get stuck there and spend the rest of your life in that pit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Listen to this show. What we are intending is to drop down the golden ladder for you to come up rung by rung. And, that's it. That's a journey of life. And no matter where some guru has gotten to, there's an infinite amount of levels that we can keep climbing. There's no final destination. Life can be fun even when it's painful. You know what I learned? I learned that you can have pain and courage at the same time. You can have sorrow and joy and gratitude at the same time. Like, I always learned that, you're either one or the other, but I don't think it's true.
Well, I love that because we live in a universe of and not or, right? And so there are some things that your soul has already evolved to, and that's what you get to teach. And with the things you have mastered is what you teach. And then we're always a student and the teacher in the same breath, and that's the enlightened teacher, right? And so I feel that there's always things in our life that are not at the higher vibrations, but there are some that are super high vibrations, right? And so let's talk about that and moving through that and understanding how, let's talk about that in relationships, because that's what you do, right? You help single moms from divorce. And so in a relationship, when you're emanating out from you, what's inside of you, and then you're attracting that into your relationship, that's a part of you that needs to be healed, right? As well as there could be a version of you that truly loves, and at the highest level as well. And so let's talk about intimate bonding and relationships and fear of intimacy and going into the deep, deep, deep emotional body of trauma and what happens with that.
Well, I want to reference the one point because there was a lot in there that we could pick out and have like 20 conversations on. But the piece that really stuck with me is what we talked about backstage, which is we are only capable of attracting in a counterpart a reflection of how far we've evolved. So whoever we are internally is who we attract, right? This is law of attraction. So when that happens and both people continue to evolve and transform and grow, because that's what we're here to do, then you get to evolve together. Yes, your pain is your purpose. Totally, Jessica. I agree. And when we know that our pain is our purpose, then we can even turn that into our life's work, and it can become profit. We can take the pain that we went through and turn it into gold and teach people. And then now the universe is supporting us to continue to teach more and more people. Isn't that beautiful?
That is so beautiful. And as you were speaking and you were saying it turning into gold, you know that oh gosh, it's a form of art where they break glass and then they fill it the cracks with gold. Do you know that? Because I know that you're
like, I wrote a whole post about it. Kintsugi.
So tell me about that, because I know that's like your pocket of turning things into gold, right? And I truly feel, I say that about diamonds, right? It takes pressure to actually get the diamond to move through the alchemy, right? I believe that's what we're doing on this soul's journey, is like alchemizing to our highest version of ourselves and to the highest level of consciousness, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's like nonstop. It just like turns me on this topic, this way of living. Yeah, I know. That's why you're so glowy. Because that every time we polish that gem or we turn something into gold, it's that light inside that beams out and radiates. It's like you can't stop it if you wanted to. You could wear a cloak over your face and I'd still see your light, But alchemy, it's total alchemy. You reminded me of something else, another analogy I want to share, and it's a Buddhist meditation. And basically there are monks that will practice this where you're inhaling all the pain and the suffering of humanity, and then exhaling, because you're alchemizing it through your own system, and you're exhaling unconditional love.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that is
something. I'm just gonna live in a land of chills with you.
I know, me too. But you asked me something. Can you remind me the question again, please?
So just tell us about like the alchemy process, because that's when, and you deal with single moms that are going through probably the hardest pain point of their life, of divorce, right? And so at the point of divorce, I look at it, and both of us are, have moved through beautiful divorces and are wonderful with our families and having co-parents and parenting and everything. But it was a journey to get there, right? It really was a journey to get there, and it was a journey within self, I believe, and not to be in hatred, not to be in anger, not to be in those spaces, and also look beyond ourselves and looking to the family and to children, and just loving and honoring the different levels of consciousness where everybody's at, but growing and understanding. Maybe talk about the process of that when you're in the pain, right? And what it actually is, you're going through that to get to your purpose. And we spoke of that, but on the other side of the pain, I truly believe is always your destiny. I believe that when you come through that in the dark night of the soul, and both of us have gone through dark nights of our souls, right? And you come through that and you can teach from a space of empowerment because you've gotten through the pain. I think that that's such a powerful space, right? And so maybe talk on that.
Absolutely. The most important thing and imagery I want to really communicate today is this. Us as parents who go through divorce, we are standing at the juncture of time between our ancestors and future generations, our children and their children and beyond. So it's infinite. Time is infinite. So it's going in both directions. And we are standing at a juncture of time where we have to look at the patterns of, how did I end up here? This is so heartbreaking. This is so painful. Nobody wants this. Nobody gets married to say they're going to get divorced. Yeah. How did I get here? And when you go through that journey of looking at your own self, your own childhood, what did your parents model to you? How were you raised? What were the stories that were taught to you, whether it be media, childhood movies? And then you have to go beyond that and look at the patterns that your lineage handed down. Wow. So
Yeah.
Grandparents are on both maternal and paternal side. And when you start to go and journal and write down the patterns, for me, I take people through the process of just bullet points. You don't even have to journal. You can just write bullet points of specific patterns that you can see. And then when you zoom out and you look at the tree, the family tree and of patterns, relational patterns, then you start to piece together a picture of, wow, this was truly handed down. Maybe it shows up in a modernized way, but the frequency, the program, and the story is still there from the bloodline and the DNA. But we know that epigenetics is true. It is a real thing. And epigenetics, I know that your audience is very intelligent, but just to remind everyone, is basically saying a lot of things. But the point I want to make right here is that the way we live our lives today does impact our DNA. And based on our choices and our beliefs, it actually impacts it. So when we do our own inner work to transform and evolve our beliefs, our patterns that were handed down, that's how we are rewriting the reality and the legacy that's more empowered than before for our future generations, not just our kids, but just into the future for infinity. Think about the power of where we're standing right now.
It's such a beautiful, powerful place. And so one thing I do want to speak about, and we spoke about this backstage, is understanding the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies and moving from the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine energies in a relationship, right? And so today we're talking all things relationship and all things quantum. And so how do you, like, maybe some key takeaways to when you are going through that and changing and seeing the lineage and seeing this is ancestral patterns that you want to break, and understanding, wow, this is divorce in my family, and it's, and or empowering yourself in that space of finances, of business, of everything, when you're leaving that wounded relationship, right? And so maybe talk about moving from and we all have the masculine and feminine energies within inside of us, right? But balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine and moving into that. And like you said backstage, you cannot attract a divine masculine or feminine person if you're in the wounded space, right? And so talk about that, and coming from a space in relationships of how, when we're always healing the trauma, because we are healing the trauma, how do we move to a divine empowered space then?
Well, that's just it right there. We have to constantly practice self-awareness. Whatever is happening situationally, relationally in our lives, doesn't matter if it's a romantic one, in your family, in work, client, boss, it doesn't matter. These are all, it's just that the closer it is, like the closer it comes into your like core. So like your lover, your children, your parents, these are closer than clients and such. The closer it gets, they push on buttons and traumas that are in the shadow that we may not be aware of. And so that's what's sacred. Like, I think all relationships that are that close are sacred, because we can't see ourselves sometimes until we are in those types of relationships where the old childhood wounds get reactivated. And here's another thing. A lot of blueprints within us aren't activated until we do it. So for instance, until we get married. When we get married, there's a blueprint for how do I be a wife? How do I, or a husband? That gets activated. When we have children, that gets, how do I be a parent? So we need to be examining. That's why it's important to look at your own history of how you were raised, and then how your parents were raised, and back, because that's how you know where you came from and what needs to be examined to be rewritten. So yeah, when you're a parent and you look at your kids and you're repeating certain patterns that were in the shadow that you didn't know were there, it's a really big incentive, because you're like, oh no, I got to put a stop to this. I cannot let this be a thing my kids have to go through. If I have the awareness, I have the responsibility to do something about it. You can't just be like, all right, let me dig a hole and hide that. No, the box got opened already. You got to deal with it.
I love that. And you know, I on this channel I talk about spiritual maturity all the time, and understanding and taking accountability for your life, and understanding that you can actually rewrite your story. And so one big thing is that, you know, the thing that I teach the most is that it's something is affecting you in your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your energetic body, right? And when you go through a divorce, all of that has trauma throughout it, right? So maybe talk about some takeaways, how energetically you would change, how physically you would change. Like, what are some things to do if you're in a situation, and it doesn't even have to be a divorce, but a toxic relationship, and moving out of the toxic relationship with yourself and doing the inner work to come out and have a healthy relationship in that space?
When I work with people, the thing that I see the most is when the relationship goes into a separation mode and they're in two different locations, they're no longer living together. What I hear again and again is that as time passes, they start to feel themselves again. Now, why do they feel themselves again? It's because they are in their own energy. They have their children's energy, but children, that's a different story. We're talking about adults. When they are only feeling themselves and doing what's necessary to fill their own cup and going through the healing journey intentionally, as time passes, they're not feeling another psychic, energetic, emotional, psychological impact from another being who may or may not have certain intentions, agendas, desires, expectations. So now you're in your own psychic, energetic field.
Yeah.
And it's so important for your healing journey, honestly. Your home is a sacred sanctuary temple. That's how I look at it. And that's one of the things I teach, is that you have to treat your home as your sanctuary, a safe place where you can be yourself and feel your energy, and only fill it with things that make you happy, and purge it of everything else that doesn't serve a purpose. I mean, it's just got to go.
I love that so much. We're going to take a quick break and then come back. I could talk to you for hours. You're a wealth of knowledge on relationships. And so thank you for being here. We're going to take a quick break, guys. Stay tuned. And we're going to get back with Mary, and we're going to go deep, deep, deep into the quantum of relationships and what that looks like to have a healthy relationships and be empowered in a relationship. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being part of the Soul on Fire show. Today, we are going deep into the quantum fields and talking about relationships and understanding the energetic and emotional body within relationships. We're talking about how to be empowered and bringing your light out the world once you move through your pain and your purpose. We're here with Mary Huang, and who is an expert in this subject. She's an international bestseller, and she's a speaker, international speaker, and she really works with people that have been divorced to get them to empowerment back into the greatest versions of themselves. Welcome back, Mary. Thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit about a journey of what it looks like for somebody that is going through the process of divorce or separation, or anything in their life that they have trauma, that you work with them, and how you go through that with them.
I think it's really situational. It's really difficult to say like a blanket statement for anything. But what I can say is any type of loss, including divorce, the way to balance the masculine and the feminine is to pull back. So since we all have a masculine and feminine on the inside, when we're leaving a toxic situation, okay, let's bring it back to divorce. When we're leaving a toxic situation, there's a lot of adrenaline, a lot of fear to make that leap and that jump from the unit, which is what we've all been Well, it is a beautiful thing to have.
Mhm.
It is a beautiful thing to have. So it's not wrong to want it. But to break out of something you've devoted so much time and energy to creating this vision of what you dreamt of your whole life, from watching princess movies and, other love story movies, it's just what we are told again and again as a goal in life. So now we've got the goal and we're in it and we've devoted all this time into the vision and making it happen. But then fast forward, now we have to make the leap from this comfort zone into the next place. And this is anytime, this is where I can globalize it. It's like anytime we're up leveling or changing one season into another season of our life, it takes so much courage and bravery to make that leap, right? If you read that book, is it The Big Leap?
Yeah, I love it. The zone of excellence to the zone of genius, right? Yes, I love that book. We really are the same person.
We really are. And that's a great book to recommend to your viewers too, to read, because it really deals with business, with life. It's business is life.
Okay.
So making that leap takes so much courage. Another analogy I like to teach with is like that trapeze artist that has to swing back and forth from one, handle, and they let go of it in order to catch the next one. But they make it look so easy. And I know once you catch the next one, it's exhilarating. But the first time you learn to do it, in fact, I want to go do that with you. We should go do that.
We should film my show. Right? Definitely.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
To do that.
Yeah. And, that's how important it is to let go of the old phase, the old life, the old, whatever it is you're up leveling from in order to catch the dream that you want. And so having these imageries to hook onto is so important when we are up leveling. And so another one is like the phoenix rising. Your mind is everything. Filling it with imagery, stories, beliefs, words, conversations, whatever you are consuming in every way is so critical for you to be able to make these leaps again and again. It doesn't have to be just divorce, because if we are growing, we are going to be hitting that ceiling again and again. And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have partners that will also be driven to do the same thing. And unfortunately, what I see a lot is in partnerships, if one person is continuously evolving and the other isn't, it's very challenging, because it's like frequency and energy. It's like taking a plug from the US for your laptop and going to New Zealand, which I did this in a cafe, plugged it in, and the whole place blacked out. So I can't even believe that it worked. So frequency is like that. It's like if both partners aren't doing the same thing, eventually it's just kind of like, I don't know if it's a law, but it probably is, because it won't work together.
Well, that's such a beautiful terms is the season, reason, and lifetime with the frequencies in the quantum world. And just to make it a little bit more layman, because you and I are so well versed in the quantum fields and frequency. So the season is, the season is somebody that comes into your life and just is so much joy, and you're at a high frequency, and it's this beautiful, beautiful elation, and you're dancing with the universe, but then they leave, right? And so understanding the detachment, which I want to talk about after I finish the season, reason, lifetime, and then, understanding that they were just in your life for a season, but the frequency was of really, really a high love vibration. And then the reasons are really, it can be any frequency, right? The reasons can be a really high frequency of love, or they could be a really low frequency of guilt and shame, right? Because they're teaching your soul and they're expanding. And then the lifetimes you move through all of the frequencies with the lifetimes, right? Because it's never always just bubbles and unicorns, and there's always expansion and evolving. And so let's talk about that and the detachment process, because it's so important to understand. And how do you transmute from anger and fear and sadness and guilt and shame, which is huge in that space, right? The divorce space. How do you move from those frequencies to the higher level frequencies to attract a better partner for you for your lifetime partner?
Number one, do not jump right into another relationship. Don't even have sex with anyone until you heal yourself and become the person that you want to attract.
Yeah.
Please, take as much time, take years if you need to, because honestly, when you have intimacy on that level with someone, you are exchanging energies, you're exchanging unprocessed trauma from your partner energetically through sex. You're creating soul ties. And then whoever you've each had sex with before, you're getting it all from everyone. And so is the partner. So honestly, this is something we need to be teaching young people. God gave me 2 daughters. They're very young still, thankfully, because then I still have time to figure out how to teach this in a age appropriate way when it's time, because we are alive in a culture where it's like nilly-willy, I know I didn't, let's not talk about my history, but these children are being raised, including our generation, to everything is so sexified.
And so casual, right? It's just,
so
it's
casual.
easy and it's fun and it's physical, but they're not looking behind that. And and my daughters are 16 and 17, right? And so they're right in that age group. And so it's truly understanding that, one, it's an emotional journey, but 2, it's an energetic journey that you're bringing in. And so thank you for saying that, because it's really not spoken about enough, is that you're bringing in all of these ties when you're intimate with someone. So you move through the first phase of taking the time for yourself and cultivating that relationship back with yourself after the separation or divorce or whatever it may be. What is the next stage from there?
You're going to have a lot of emotions. You're going to go through the stages of grief, which is normal. Women often cry and then they say, I'm sorry for crying. Why are you sorry for crying? You need to cry. Anger, grief, sadness, depression, it's all okay. It's all part of it. We have to accept ourselves. Divorce, to me, is a graduation from life lessons that we haven't yet learned, that were still from our childhood traumas.
Wow.
And it's about coming full circle to come back and revisit these things that we haven't yet seen in our shadow. We may have worked on certain topics again and again, but we go deeper and deeper and deeper to the root until it's done. And we got to go back. It's an opportunity. We get to go back and tie up these loose ends. That's how I view divorce. Divorce can be a portal of ascension if we take it that way. And when you walk through it,
I love that. And not even just divorce, just any breakup in general, right? It could be a level of ascension. And so let's talk about identity and attachment to identity, moving through that identity and becoming someone new, because especially for women, this is really a journey where we take on their name. In history, we've taken on their name, we've taken on the role of being a wife, we've taken on the role of being a mother, and now we have to reinvent ourselves all over again. Let's talk about that and what that looks like.
I think that's such a great point. We do have to reinvent ourselves. And why is it that our society has created this situation where the women take on their last names, and then we have to disrupt what it is to be a woman, a wife, and a mother. And looking at just that pattern alone, they'll say it's because, I think back in the day, that's the way you can property, like land, real estate, is handed down, right? And so anyway.
And women were handed down, right? This is my daughter. Here, I'm going to sell my house with my daughter, right?
Well, certain cultures are still doing that. Dowries are still, even when I got married, I remember there was some frequency from my own mother about that, giving gifts. And I was raised watching movies where that was depicted in movies. And these are like ingrained in our subconscious mind of how do we show up when it's time to get married, to become these different roles.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the feminine energies. And you and I talked about this backstage and how really, I mean, you know me, I'm a numerologist, I work in the astro fields. And so we've just moved into the age of Aquarius, which is really of individuation. And it is the divine feminine, right? We're moving from the age of Pisces. And that was more of like the dependent age. So the age of Aquarius is now this independent age. And so let's talk about what it looks like to be an independent woman, and not so far off that it's like, you know, where it's radical, but what's the middle bit ground and the balance between what it used to be and where we're moving towards?
I feel like we have changed a lot, even though there's still more work to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're not in the era. Thank you to the women back in the days in the 60s burning the bra. So many women have come ahead of us to, like, with the machetes in the fields and cutting a path for us. And every generation gets to come in and pave a little bit more and polish and upgrade a little bit more, right? So it's such an honor for us to be on this journey as women.
Mhm.
Up leveling the frequency and the consciousness of what it is to be a female. So interdependence, you know, I don't think we need to go so far out. I feel like the pendulum, when we're so confined and constricted and oppressed, then we have to take so much force to break out of that energetic jail that was just like a matrix of being held down. It takes a lot of force and energy to break through that. So then the pendulum swings all the way to the other side, is what you mentioned, of like being too far out to one side and being so independent. So we're coming from codependency to like, I'm so independent, I don't need anyone.
Mhm.
But then we got to come back to the middle path and the middle ground of interdependence. And the ingredient that's necessary on this journey is self-love. Divorce is really, or any breakup, is an opportunity to evolve to the point where you see yourself and realize, oh my God, I have to truly have my own back first.
Mhm.
I have to love myself first. But sometimes we don't get to learn these things until we walk through certain situations, and that's okay. We got to love every part of ourselves. We got to forgive ourselves and the other people who played the role of the villain, because without them, we couldn't have access to our superhero powers to then live our destiny, to help other people going through whatever they're going through that's similar. That's really the whole point.
I absolutely love that. I think that that is so powerful and so gracious. It's understanding that there is a balance, and let's talk about being a single mom in the business world, right? You and I are both entrepreneurs, and what that looks like, and the emotional piece of that, because there's so much expectation. But I think the interdependence is exactly what you said. It's not, I'm going to do it all by myself and I don't need a man or a woman, whatever it may be, or codependency, which is where we have been in for generations and generations and generations of the you know, the women not being so suppressed. So in the entrepreneur role as a single mom owning a business, how do you move into the empowerment of interdependence? Because that is the pocket right there for sure.
I feel so blessed. I mean, I never thought I would be in this position, but nobody ever thinks they're going to be, you know, a divorced single parent. But I'm just so grateful that I get to be in my destiny now, and that includes being an entrepreneur. How is it done? How do I move through it? Can you ask me that again? Because I'm not quite sure.
Sure. So what is the most important thing to know to be into empowerment, to be in interdependence, that you can be in a healthy relationship, and you come into the relationship as a whole, not you're going to heal me and I'm part of you, right? Or I'm 100% without you and I don't need you. Yes, you are 100%, but we're here to love, right? And we're here to have beautiful relationships with others. And so there's a fine balance. So how do we find that balance in especially as entrepreneurs, right?
The first ingredient that we have to focus on is your relationship with the divine.
We love you.
That is the first most important foundational piece. Without that, you're going to be floundering, untethered, blown around on this earth. There's so much happening on this earth around the world, and we're all energetic. So we're all feeling everything from all the continents. We're feeling and impacted by everything. And if you are not grounded onto this earth and connected to a divine, like have a relationship that's every day, and then you develop it and have a ritual. A ritual may be waking up early and meditating for a set amount of time, but it becomes a daily breath by breath situation where it becomes you're embodying it. So there's a journey between where you are and starting, or maybe even meditating for a long time, and then becoming it, embodying it. So you've got to treat it like a lifestyle, because when you do that, you become the divine in human form, anchored and then radiating. And then it's so easy, because then now you're on a different frequency above, you're on the earth, but you're not of it, right? Yes. I think I messed up that saying. You gotta be part of the world, but not of the world.
Yeah.
And how you do that is you've got to connect with your higher self. You got to connect with your source. There's so many names for it. I call it God.
Thank you.
You gotta have that and let that be in you, like you're the God self operating through the human form. Then it's so easy.
It is.
Doesn't mean it's not going to be challenging, but the answers are going to be easily accessible, and then you can work through it with so much more ease.
And you and I know is that we work at the, like you and I have been doing this for years, lifetimes. lifetimes, but for decades, actually doing it in this physical embodiment, right? Both you and I are experts in this field. We still do the work. I still have 5 coaches and a spiritual advisor, right? I'm doing this for 20 years, and I'm a shaman and a quantum practitioner. You work in the quantum fields every day, and we still do the work. And that's the key that I heard, is that the inner work, nothing is external, right? Everything that's going on is internal. And so it's just a vibratory field within you that you're emanating out. But the more that we're open as a vessel, God comes through us, and we get to bring that out into humanity, right? And and I truly believe, and then we have to go to a quick commercial, but I truly believe that it's not the fight out there or the war out there, I believe the biggest pandemic is within us, and we have to fight within us. And it's not even a fight, because we're not really warriors, but it's the connection back to you and God, right?
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect place to go for a commercial. We're going to take a quick commercial, and we will be right back, guys. We're going to go deep with Mary. Stay tuned, because there are some more nuggets. She's going to give you key takeaways to do, what to do while you go through a breakup, or just to find empowerment. And we will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. I'm so excited. I'm losing my voice today, because I'm here with my soul sister Mary, and we're talking deep about the quantum, about relationships, about understanding your self-empowerment, moving through a breakup or a divorce, and understanding what it is on the other side of that, and through your pain is your purpose. Thanks, Mary, for being here. Tell us a little bit about some key takeaways that you could do, or people can do, if they're going through the breakup right now, because that's the hardest part, right? I believe, like you and I have said, we've the dark night of our souls, we have merged through, and now we're teaching this, right? And so when someone is in the darkest part of the journey of relationship and self and God and in connection, what does that look like first and foremost? And then how do you get to the other side of that?
Yeah, girl, let me tell you. I mean, heartbreak is hard.
Yeah.
There's no way that it can't be hard. And there were days, I can just see in my mind, where I was literally on the ground, on my knees, just like bawling my eyes out. And I think that's okay. I even think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to cry for the purpose of being therapeutic. This is the way I would suggest doing it. And it might take practice if self-awareness is new. So you want to imagine, like, there's a part of your consciousness that could lift out of your body, and you're in the corner of the room observing yourself. So this is the witness witnessing you. And when you are, let's say, on the couch crying, on the bed, on the ground, doesn't matter, just let it out. But We want to cry with the purpose of letting it out because it is healing and cleansing. But then if you can remember, have this part of your consciousness outside of you witnessing this. So you can analyze, okay, what is this about? I have issues in my childhood that haven't been healed possibly. Where is the root of this emotional pain right now? Because every time you cry, it's a different thing that's coming up. It's not just, oh, there was a divorce, there was a breakup. Maybe at first, but then we got to go deeper. You got to be like Inspector Gadget. You got to be on an adventure.
Love that.
Like the magnifying glass and like the digging thing. Like you got to follow the crumbs of your inner universe and figure out where is this coming from. Because if you don't, you're going to get stuck and then you don't get to help your kids. You've got to do this. Once you heal yourself, you can then have more capacity to hold the container for your children who need you so desperately to guide them in this process of what just happened. The two people I love the most are no longer together. How am I supposed to make sense of this? So that's another incentive of why we need to do it. And the how is you've got to practice self-awareness. And if you need to just cry in the moment and just cry, that's okay. But afterwards, go and journal. You've got to carve out time for yourself. And protect your peace, because these are the things that are going to help you come to a peace on the inside. When you have peace on the inside, then once again, we are really here to serve our children as well. So we've got to heal, figure out what this is coming, like where is it coming from, rewrite it, and then awareness sometimes, like shining the light of awareness on something in your shadow sometimes is enough to make it evaporate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I teach that all the time is when you're the observer of your life, it's with just factual information as opposed to an emotional response. Right. And you should feel your emotions, that they're your guidance system, but you can't live in that space. You just have to, it's just factual information that you're observing. What's happening right here? What am I observing right now? Where's this coming from? What's the core? Like you said, that's beautiful. I love that. And so let's talk about detachment from that space, embodying a brand new version of you, which is, you and I teach this, is how to become a new version of you, tapping into the quantum version of you, seeing a higher version of yourself, moving through that, connecting to the energy of that. But then let's talk about after a breakup, dating again and starting all over as a brand new version of you.
So I want to give a practical tool.
Yeah.
And one of the things is when you're first going through the breakup, you are coming out of the old you and you're transitioning. You're not yet in this new ideal healed self yet.
Yeah.
And it's quite a journey. It's a dark tunnel of, emotions and pain. And that's okay, because at the end of it is sunshine and rainbows and so many rewards for you, like joy and bliss and freedom and true liberation. If you take the opportunity that's there for you. So one practical tool you can use is every time you catch your brain, because once again, really it comes down to self-awareness. Your thoughts lead to emotions, lead to actions, lead to results. We've all heard this before. Many of us have. So your thoughts are literally creating your emotions. So we're not going to negate the emotions, but once you've had enough times of crying and purging and following the breadcrumbs, another thing is we got to now, it's like taking the reins of your thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts about your ex, about the situation, you're super angry or, negative, you got to catch yourself, stop midstream and don't even care about what you were thinking of. And you just tell yourself, I don't have time for that. I got to focus on my destiny. I got to focus on healing. I got to focus on, have a thing that you're hooking onto. Where are you headed? For me, it could be as simple as a picture of Italy, because that's what I love is Italy. It could be as simple as that. But you got to have a future dream you're hooking onto, so that every time you catch yourself focused on the negative, you got to you got to literally tell yourself, nope, I don't have time for that. And then hook it on your dream, repeat, rinse, repeat, until it becomes your new neural pathway.
I love that. There are so many golden nuggets in there. It was journaling. It was, rewriting your codes and your neural net pathways and just becoming a different version of yourself. Let's talk very quickly, because we have about 10 more minutes left, about dating, right after a breakup? Like, what does that look like? I love that you said don't have sex right away, because it's very important to understand that it's your body is your temple. And I know it feels good, but move into the space of self-empowerment before you're sharing your energies. But what does that look like when you're just starting to date after a very long relationship again?
You're asking the wrong person. So I really want to.
I'm asking on purpose too, because I'm just 8 years. I've been with somebody 8 years, and I'm recently single. So I'm trying.
Honestly, it's just not on my agenda right now. I'm so focused on serving God and the universe and the people who need me and lifting the collective consciousness. I know the day will come, and when the day comes,
I think we're on the same vibes for sure.
it's just but like,
so
okay,
guys, we're single, but I don't know how available we are, right?
but this is a good point, is that, like, look at how we transformed. I think that I know I was really groomed to be a wife. Coming from immigrant parents from Taiwan, Asian culture, it was like I was groomed to be smart and look, put together and such. But really, that's the only role, is wife and mother, and that's it. They didn't even want me to get a job. They just wanted me. So that's very interesting. And to break free. So, like, okay, that was my blueprint. And in our subconscious mind, we know the drive is like, unless you change it, you can't really come up against it unless you go in and redo it. So I fulfilled the blueprint, and then I realized, oh my gosh. But now here we are, so happy and content, loving ourselves and fulfilling our destiny, open to a partner at some point in the future. But it's not the thing that we're programmed to chase.
I love that. And let's talk about very quickly the runner chaser component, and the avoidant personality, and the anxious personality, and secure, because both you and I think we're the most secure. We've known each other for years, and we're like in our power right now. And it's interesting that both of us just, ended relationships, and we're in our power, and our businesses are knocking it out of the park, and we're secure. That's probably when he's just going to show up, right? Like, we're like, and so let's talk about the avoidant and the anxious and the secure relationships, and what that looks like, because many don't know what that is.
Well, I think what we were saying backstage earlier was that one of the things is both partners have to do their own work and heal their own shadows and childhood wounds, so that they do understand what it is to love themselves and be anchored and confident in themselves, so that their partner isn't going to trigger insecurities of inadequacy or unworthiness, which it's a human journey. Like, it's a common thing. Unworthiness is like a core human experience. We've got to go in and do the work. And until we do that work, we're never going to have a partner that reflects it back. So
I love that so much. And the triggers, really, your emotional triggers, are just your guidance system of the work to be done. Right.
100%.
So what are you doing? I know that and not what are you doing, right? Like, what are you working on? How can people find you? Here is your website. But I know you have a course that teaches all of this, right? Which is so amazing, because I don't even know that there's courses out there that have all of this information within it. I know that people do relationship counseling, but you could actually do the work in your own living room, and a course that you have, right? That's pretty amazing. Incredible.
Thank you. Because, yes, you can find me on marylhuang.com, and you can find out more information there. I've got a digital course, and it's a group coaching program. And yeah, you can learn how to do this, because you and I have gone through decades and lifetimes of doing this kind of work. The transformation for us was relatively faster than maybe people who weren't on the path. So I remember going through it, and it was so painful that once I came out, people were like, how did you do that? I'm like, I've got to box it up and give it to people, because people need this. And then I will be there once a week to help people, coach them through if they have questions in the group format. So, and then I have a free, mini course called How to Get Your Power Back After a Divorce. You can find that on my website.
Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. And so we do have a couple more minutes if you want to talk a little bit about what's like the deep dive into the course, and what you get from that, and like some of your students, what they've transformed into after they come out of the course.
Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I teach that I haven't heard anyone else say is that using your home through feng shui as a way of living in a real life vision board. Now, some people have said that, well, vision boards, I've tried vision boards, they don't work. Well, they don't work because it's like 3 feet from gold. You're praying about something, you're using the vision board. These are all tools to help keep your brain hooked onto the future that you are creating, desiring, and manifesting. And then you've got to do the spiritual, emotional work, which is also part of the course, to rewrite those neural pathways, to believe that it's possible. And when you align your mind, your body, your spirit, your home and office, all together energetically to support your healing, number one, your sacred foundation, you're feeling good, you have the tools, then you can turn these traumatic things and situations into your power and your gold so you can fulfill your destiny. And that's how you use all of it together.
I want you. I want that. I want that in my home. I love that. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So taking your home, which is your human embodiment of your sacred space, and then your physical space, and merging the two. I love that. That is so different. That's such a different program than anything I've ever heard before in my life. That's incredible. Mary, I love you so much. I mean, thank you for being a gift to this world. You know, you and I think it was how many years ago? I don't even know, that we met and we just got on the phone. We're like, wait, what?
It was Josh Berglund that hooked us up.
I know it was Josh. And now we're all like in different places of the earth, right? But we're just on this journey. And I love you. So thank you for being here. One, and even more so, just one key takeaway for everybody that is the most powerful thing that somebody's just coming out of a breakup or a relationship. What should they do right now for themselves?
The one thing they should do for themselves is realize that they just chose themselves. Probably most fully and completely for the first time in their life. And they're about to go on a grand journey to reach their destiny, their destiny at the end.
Oh, thank you for bringing your gifts to this world. I love you so much. Guys, go to MaryLHuang.com. She is like seriously one of my favorite humans on this entire planet. She will change your world. I have seen her work. I have seen the people she works with. Their lives are transformed. There's nothing like that. If you're just coming out of a relationship and you need support, she is your person. She is an expert in her field. As I said before, she's shared stages with Deepak and so many other big names. And so I just honor you for bringing your gift and your light to the world.
Thank you so much for having me, Noelle. It's such an honor to be with you again today. I love you so much.
I love you too. And guys, take care of you by going and seeing her if you need help and support. I love you, Mary. Thanks for being here. I'm going to say goodbye, but it's never goodbye with us. It's just, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Great to see you.
You too.
Wow, guys, what a powerful show. She is so pure divine light. If you are having problems in a relationship, just getting out of a relationship, or you're breaking up with someone, she is a relationship expert. Go to MaryLHuang.com and she will change your life. And apparently she'll change your home as well. So what a special show we had today. I am so grateful to be here. I love you all, and thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you so much for those that watch the live. Thank you for those that watch the replay. Please get this out to as many people as possible. If you do like this video, like it, share it, subscribe, send it out to everybody, because our job at Noelle Agape Global is to change humanity, raise the vibration of the planet, and truly elevate you to your power. You are more powerful than you ever know. Your situation does not define your life. It is evolving you to be the greatest version of you. Everything that you need is inside of you. Connect back to you, to God, source, the universe. Do the inner work. Go on a spiritual journey, because it is worth every minute. Know that people are in your life for a season, reason, and lifetime, and just figure out what that is. Be the observer of your life. Make the connection. Know that everything is inside of you. You are more powerful than you will ever know. And I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.